Okay, so I guess we should officially get started here. Thanks everybody for coming to the first ever Star Wars collecting live AMA with none other than Yakface himself, Jason. How do you pronounce your last name, by the way? Is it Kree? I've never had to say it out loud. Is it Krebsbach or Krebsbach?
Krebsbach.
Krebsbach. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very German.
That's good to know. Okay, so I'm here with Yakface himself. I'm sure he needs no introduction. We all know who Yakface is. He's the hero that the community deserves.
Let's not oversell this now.
All right, so I figured we might as well just get right into it.
Let's do it.
All right, give me 1 second to pull up the questions here. So I'm going to ask you a question, and then TS will ask you a question, and we'll just kind of swap off. And then at the end, I have some questions of my own that I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind. All righty. So getting to the first one here.
Have these been screened?
Very lightly. I'm kind of doing that now.
Okay.
Well, let's kick it off with your opinion of Royal Kilted Canadian Yaxman.
That's funny because I was just about to say it.
I love it.
I know that this is totally off topic, but the Super 7 Ren and Stimpy Ultimates are just starting to make their way out. Maybe they'll get around to getting the Royal Canadian Yaxman.
God, that brings back some memories.
Okay, so I've got the first question here. What was your first Star Wars collectible, and do you still have it? And that is from our very Sith Strife.
Yes, I do have it. It's kind of funny. I've been asked this a lot in the past couple weeks. I've been popping around in some different podcasts and interviews and whatnot. But my first action figures, I got them all one year. That first Christmas that they were available. But it's R2-D2, Luke, Vinyl Cape Jawa, Ben Kenobi, Darth Vader, Han and Leia. I believe those was everyone I got that Christmas, and I still have every single toy from Star Wars that I grew up with, and I either have them on display or have them easily accessible in my collection.
Well, that's better than me. I'm pretty sure every single toy I had a kid, my mom sold at a garage sale at some point in time.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a mom that never got rid of anything at all. It's like she kept all of our childhood toys. I've got two younger brothers, and she kept all of our stuff growing up. So we have all of our original. I grew up with Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask. I still have all of that stuff. My brother has He-Man, and my other brother has like wrestling and Batman, Batman 89 type stuff, because he was born in 82.
So both your brothers are also collectors?
The collecting gene runs strong in my family. It's for sure. My mom is it's borderline. I mean, I'm probably in that same category. It's like borderline hoarder / collector, where you just can't bear you just can't bear to get rid of anything. But my mom, she collected or collects a lot of I Love Lucy stuff, and there's some doll, like porcelain doll type things. My grandmother was a huge doll collector, so yeah, and my grandpa, he didn't have a lot growing up, so when he was much older, he collected John Deere farm tractors, and like the small toy versions, the die or the metal tractors and whatnot. So unfortunately they have both passed, but their collections are in our family still. So
to follow up a little bit on that, being a collector, I know a lot of people kind of feel not only that it's a hobby, but also that at some points that it can almost become overwhelming. That's when you see a lot of collectors just sell off their collection, start fresh, or sell off their collection and get out of the hobby. Is that something that ever worries you? Do you ever feel that pressure of, maybe my collection's complete, or
No, it's never crossed my mind once, actually. It's just, as long as they keep making new stuff, I'm just like right there with it. They kind of continue what we've all been familiar with growing up, and then they introduce new things and they kind of fall away and they get replaced with other things. But over the years, I've still just steadily maintained, the things that are constant, like the 3 3/4 inch action figure scale. I've maintained that throughout. I wasn't when the Black Series came out. I wasn't all in on that at first. I still have very few of the first ones, but as the quality improved, and the quality wasn't that great back then as far as likenesses and whatnot, but the sculpts were decent, and I became more of a completist, especially around like Rogue One and Episode 7, and then I kind of went back and backfilled a lot of those ones I missed, but I still have, I don't know, half a dozen, maybe a little more, of the original run Black Series that I don't have.
Well, if you're looking for any, I'm sure that our channel will be the lit up after this AMA with people
Right.
first run Black Series.
Right, and that's what's great about the Discord and just social media in general, and obviously me being a part of the site and everything, that if there's something that someone's looking for, you could usually get that itch scratched within a day. I mean, at least with me, like I'm pretty, if I don't immediately need it, I know I can get it if I really wanted it. So it's great. Like I said, just having these different groups, each has their own little idiosyncratic things where, Discord kind of runs a certain way, or Twitter or Instagram or even Patreon, and what they all kind of run different, but you make these connections, and that's what's still so great about the Star Wars community. As much as we all complain about things and whether we like this or that, or the movies this or that, there's always people out there that are still willing to help other collectors out there. And once that goes away, maybe I'll quit. Maybe that would be the trigger that would put me over the edge and say, I'm just not in this anymore. People are, just too dickish or mean or selfish or whatever. But I don't foresee that happening.
So I had a question that might tie into this. I was listening to you on the Steel Wars podcast that I went up the other day, and by the way, that was a great interview. But I was listening to you talk about how you would have sleepovers with your friends, and you would bring your toys over to your friend's house, and that was kind of the social aspect of collecting back then. Do you think that these groups now, like the Discords and the Facebook groups, do you think that's the evolution of those sleepovers we had as kids, where we're still doing the same thing, we're just doing it online now?
Definitely, other than the face-to-face, or maybe even the video portion of it really not being there, it is very much the same thing. It's like hanging out with your friends all the time, and you're talking about your latest pickups, and you can show them, whether, just through picture, just, oh, this is what I posted, this is what I got, and you post a picture of it, and they can see it, and they know you've got it. It's all very similar, and I never thought of it like that before, but it is very much the same thing as, growing up in the backyard with a bunch of friends talking about your, what you got for your birthday. And because back then that's
Right.
that's when we really got our stuff, for holidays. We never, I mean, not a lot of us were out with our own money unless, we could afford it, or we had allowances or worked for it. But yeah, it's very, very much the same thing. So that is kind of a cool point.
I distinctly remember having massive battles in my friend's basement where it would be like Star Wars and G.I. Joe and Jurassic Park all like mixed together, maybe like some Batman thrown in. You know?
Man, I'm disappointed in your battles because I'm not hearing any Independence Day, any Ninja.
I had the alien ship that made the missile sounds. I had the American fighter that played the Will Smith sound effects. I had all the Independence Day toys. Son, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did not collect Independence Day.
I think my mom brought it home for me. I don't think it was anything I was ever into until she did that, and then it became something I was into.
Right.
Which happened a lot, actually. I think that might even be sort of the catalyst of what got me into Star Wars. I got into it much later than you. I was a 80s baby, and I came into it right around when the special editions were coming out. So my perception of it is a lot different than yours.
Yeah.
Well, we still love the same thing. I just came into it later, and because of that, I have a different perspective on it, just like we all do.
Right.
But yeah, moving on to the next question. This one's from Sharkbait. If you ever got sat in front of a Hasbro Star Wars brand manager and they would grant you one request, what would it be, and why is it Action Fleet?
Why is it?
That's what he said. I fully support that question, but that's what he said.
I remember seeing this question before, and I laughed at that time too. Yeah, it's a good question. What would if I sat down in front of them? What would I want? I think I would like. I want a.
It's a bit hard to decide once you have everything possible in front of you.
Right, and what Hasbro's capable of now. I would like a barge size blockade runner, even though it's not nearly the right scale. I mean, it's about 7 times too small, but something like that where you could have a blockade runner and you could take the top off of it and you could have the hallways inside and you could recreate, A New Hope or Rogue One or something.
I'd have to sell a kidney because of your request, but I would definitely be all over that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how a full blockade runner could translate, because I mean, even with the way that they scale ships to figures with the current line, I mean, you're going to have basically a hallway play set with a teeny tiny cockpit.
Right. Yeah. Yes. I guess you would scale from the cockpit and work back. Make it large enough you could fit, 4 figures, I suppose, and then work it back from there.
And I mean, I know there's been multiple blockade runners in the movies. Most of them are just kind of like in behind the scenes, and is one.
There's different configurations.
And is that Tantive 4? Well, everybody's done the detective work and said no, there's not the right number of engines. So I mean, obviously the one that would have the most, I guess, compatibility would be the Tantive. But it would be cool to get, multiple variations on it, I think.
Right.
So we have a question from the live comments.
Okay, cool.
And, this one, just from where you sit and some of the things that you get access to, this question is, what's the status on the rumored Crate Luke and Jar Jar Black series?
Sadly, I've heard nothing more about those 2 figures. I'm not sure what the holdup is or why they've been delayed as far as they have. I haven't heard anything more about them, so their status is still currently in limbo. I know they exist. I mean, they don't typically work up UPC codes and item numbers for products that aren't in production. So they're on a shelf somewhere waiting to be approved for manufacture. I just don't know when that might be.
And just for historical purposes, that question was from Baymax. So if he's listening, hopefully he gets a little smile on his face because we asked his question.
Awesome.
Okay, this question is from Pops, and he asks, any idea if we'll be seeing any more expanded universe figures? And I just want to add on to that is, what is your opinion on Hasbro and quote unquote Legends or expanded universe figures? Do you think that there's actually like a directive in place telling them not to make these, or do you think that they're just not, they just don't think that they will sell? Because I know we have things like Darth Nihilus coming out now, which would be a Legends figure, but that's obviously a limited
right
line. So
yeah, I mean, as of recently, with now that the movies have kind of wrapped up, I think that's kind of freed up Hasbro to do more things that aren't tied directly into what's the new thing right now. You could see it with other brands too, like Funko and I'm kind of blanking on who else, but like Funko just released like the Darth Malgus pop and the Shadow Trooper pop, and they had the Shadow Trooper Black Series figure. Again, they've got the two different Revens. They've got the Force Unleashed Stormtrooper, which is technically it's Legends now. So yeah, I don't think they're unable to make this thing. It just whatever makes sense for them to do and easiest. Most of them have been repaints thus far. But like with the Darth Nihilus, there's going to be some new tooling involved, obviously. And even going back to like the Jango Fett that's coming out for the Bounty Hunter game, I don't know if that's really considered canon, but still, I would consider it expanded universe / Legends. So they're still able to make that kind of thing, and I'm totally happy for it. I'm totally on board with it. There's a ton of that era that can be mined for toys. So, yeah, I don't think there's a hard directive from Disney saying, no, you can't make X character because we don't, it's not part of our, marketing or our future plans or whatnot. So I think there's hope for a lot of some of those expanded universe characters, like,
Dash Rendar.
I was waiting for you to fill it in.
If there was a Dash Rendar, you would tell me right away, wouldn't you? I know you would.
No, I would wait. I would hold that out. I would just not say it. I would not use that one.
I'd be so mad.
Hasbro would be presenting it at a toy fair, and Yak would still be like messaging you saying, "Hey, it's not real. It's canceled."
I will send you all the side eye emojis.
I'd let you break it. Break that news.
I would then give you my firstborn child. In that case.
All right. That sounds fair.
It's a fair trade, I think.
I think that's kind of a high price.
Yeah. What do you know?
Yeah,
I'm just.
What do I know? So specifically, and I know you already answered this. Wolf MCC CC 3636 wants to know if you're cool, Yakface.
I am cool. No, I don't. That's
your beard is certainly cool. My beard bows to your beard. My beard comes nowhere close to your beard.
No, I'm just an everyday kind of guy that likes Star Wars toys, and I'm just one of the regular old guys. I'm nobody special out there as far as whatever. I don't even know how to answer. Yes, I am perfectly average.
I say that makes you pretty cool.
All right. This one is actually from Tatooine Sandworm, who was just talking. So I don't know. I guess I'll talk for him. What is the biggest news item you've had but needed to sit on to protect a source? Past tense. Obviously, we don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Let's see. kind of hard to say. Like,
obviously, we don't want to get anybody in trouble. So if you want to
right,
skip
you
that
know,
one, we
no,
can
it's
do
fine.
that.
I mean, I could kind of dance around it a little bit. You know, like I knew that the playset was coming, the carbon freezing chamber playset. Whether you like it or not, you know, that's kind of the biggest, most recent news that has come out. That I kind of teased months ago that, you know, it was kind of coming, and you know, I kind of described that, you know, it was going to come in half and you had to buy two to really make the whole thing. But that was the kind of the longest thing that I really sat on, like without revealing too much. You know, I knew what it looked like before it was obviously shown off to everyone. So to the general public.
Part of the interesting thing with that is they would have already had to been, at least in design stages before they even saw the success of the Jabba's Palace playset.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Yeah.
timelines. I think that it shows that Hasbro has turned a corner in terms of how they view playsets, and that maybe that we have more things to be excited about in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, you know, there's a lot of vocal fans out there that like the playset portion of the 3 3/4 inch line that, you know, we didn't really get for several years, until, you know, most recently when they did come back with that Jabba's Palace, and that was kind of developed in tandem with the um, carbon freezing chamber set. So, you know, they were never meant to come out at the same time, obviously, since, you know, one's been out for, I don't know, 8 months or so, if not longer. But, you know, they're always looking to satisfy that group of collectors. This is me just speaking by what I see. I have no direct contact with Hasbro at all, so I have no idea what they're internally planning. I have ways of finding things out, but I don't hear anything directly from them. But yeah, they're not done with playsets by any means. You know,
I think the message is that the success of Jabba's Palace plays into future playsets, where the success of Bespin Chamber would be, you know, the playset after the next one type thing. So if you want more, keep supporting playsets.
Right. And, you know, people say, well, I see them on clearance for $13 at Walmart. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, there's always that battle of, you know, overproducing something, or, you know, people buy it for way more than what they wanted to spend initially, and then they've already got it and it hits retail and then it sits because they already have it, and then it goes on clearance, and then they say, well, it's just not successful. Look, it's gone on clearance for, you know, a third the price. There's always going to be that battle with most of the action figure lines from Star Wars. I mean, everything pretty much goes on clearance at some point, you know, whether it's Walmart or Target. But, you know, and it doesn't matter if it's original trilogy or sequel trilogy or prequels. It's, you know, some may go on clearance faster or others may peg warm longer, but it all, whether it's, you know, vintage collection or Black Series, winds up discounted at some point. You know, it's how deep those discounts go, depending on how much inventory they're sitting on. So, but like you said, if you like play sets, continue to buy them because they will continue to make them, and they're continuing to make them. I could say that.
Ooh.
There's a question going on in the chat that kind of spurred a question about me.
Okay.
Up from me. I know you said you used to have contacts with Hasbro, but you don't anymore. And now you report on leaks. Do you think that you better service the community now that you have no connection to Hasbro because you can freely report leaks without having to incur their wrath, rather than being rather than having to, go to them for approval for stuff and getting fed tidbits, but not being allowed to report on that stuff.
I definitely find it more liberating as far as not being handcuffed by not being able to talk about something that I would see at a store or find online, publicly. 95% of the stuff that I post regarding leaks, anyone can find. I'm not digging in. I don't have direct access to some retailer. I mean, I do, but I'd make sure I could back that up with publicly discoverable information prior to releasing, because I don't want to get sources in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. I've been called before by a lawyer saying you need to remove this information right now. That hasn't happened in a few years, but I guess it was during Solo. But it
gotta protect that Solo merch, man.
Well, because I leaked Enfys Nest's name and what she looked like prior to it being officially revealed, because I was given the name and I searched the name, and there's some artist out there. This is really kind of behind the scenes. I searched for the name, and the name happened to be in a PDF on the internet somewhere as part of a graphics or illustration package that gets developed, where companies are going to produce stickers or graphics or T-shirts or just generic kind of clip art type things that you see plastered all over T-shirts, bags, coloring books, whatever. And that name was searchable because the text was live in the PDF. Again, I'm kind of getting in the weeds here, but
this is fascinating. Keep going.
There is a way to prevent that. And I tweeted this out when it initially happened. It's like, if you're under an NDA, don't post publicly accessible information on the internet that can be searchable. It's obviously it's a no-brainer if you don't want to get in trouble, but that's how I found out what Enfys Nest looked like and the name. So yeah, that was kind of a long way around of getting to the original point, but which I'm blanking on at the moment, the original point. But
you know what? I don't remember either, but I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. Yes, technically anyone can find this stuff, but you have to know what to look for, and you have to be in a position to get that stuff first.
Right.
And I think you do a great job of that. And I think that's why you are kind of the primary news source for all of us, even more than Hasbro.
Yeah, I going back to the original point about kind of, is it easier not being a part of, affiliated with Hasbro, essentially? Yeah, I'll come back around to that. It's much easier because there was a point where I wrote essentially a front page post on the website saying, I wasn't going to play by the rules anymore of, if someone were to, because there was a website, or there still is, Star Wars Action News, that during episode 7, one of their staff people found the action figure of Rey on the pegs, the one that comes with the lightsaber.
I remember that. Yeah,
that was a huge deal. Like, they were contacted by Disney's, lawyers and everything. They were assuming that they received this item, off a truck somewhere, or it was totally leaked to them, and they bought it in the store. And it was clearly a mistake. The cases shipped out to whatever Target or Walmart or whatever it was, whichever store, and they simply reported on what they saw and what they were able to find.
Do you ever find it interesting that unlike any other industry, these things tend to pop up before their street date. Like I maybe seen maybe once every year a video game appear before its street date, and that's maybe in
Right.
one area. And with these toys, it happens almost every release. It happens.
Yeah, you'd almost think it was on purpose. You know,
Right.
you know, and that was kind of the jumping off point for me where I didn't want to play by the rules where if I saw something in a store or online, if I go to an overseas online retailer and they have toys listed that shouldn't be posted yet, why am I obligated not to say something about that? And I told them I will um, comply with any direct request that you ask me. As far as I want you to take down whatever you just published, I told them flat out, I will do that, but you have to tell me for each instance, because I'm not just going to blanketly censor myself and not post something that I find that anyone can find. And that was where my whole kind of rebirth in my toy reporting kind of took place, is not being beholden to Hasbro's requests, and being held. It's kind of dramatic, but being held hostage in not being able to talk about something, or, well, we're not going to invite you to X convention to report on our toys for free, that I would have to pay to go there anyway. It's not like they're covering my ride. I didn't see any benefit in complying any longer, other than they would send free stuff to help promote whatever toy launch was coming up. That was great. Sure, I donated most of it to charity anyway, but that was kind of, like I said, that was kind of my jumping off point, where going back to episode 7, I just didn't want to play by the rules anymore, and I felt it much more freeing. And I understand that other sites do comply with Hasbro's requests, and that's cool. They want to do that. They want to still continue to receive press releases and advance notice of, hey, stuff is going to go up for order, or we're going to do a Q&A with you, or a Google Hangout, or whatever they're called anymore. That's fine. They made that choice, and I'm totally fine with that choice. I just don't want to do it. So
Where else are you going to get the news, though, on what figures they're repacking on Vision?
Right. Like I've kind of said before, I much rather help out the collector, letting them know what is coming, versus being, like when there's like a Midnight Madness or a Triple Force Friday, whatever they're going to call it now. When you're going in blind to a midnight opening, having no idea what things cost, or how much product, or what types of products are going to be available, I found that ridiculous as well. So again, that was more of my that just gave me all the more incentive to help collectors plan for toy launches, and let them know what they could expect to see, even though not all of it would be at retail at the time, or for the specific launch. It's the potential was there for it to be there. So I try to give people as much heads up as possible. Sometimes it could be, 6 months, 8 months, a year in advance, but it's still information that I've found, and stuff is, planning on coming. So
shifting gears a little bit from the Hasbro discussion. Obviously, there's lots of partners that have licenses with the Star Wars brand. Do you have a favorite, either a subline, possibly from Hasbro, or a separate line entirely, like Hot Wheels character cars, or Mattel Star Wars Barbie crossovers?
right.
Is there a favorite line that you like to collect? Maybe the Sideshow Jumbo vintage figures.
Action fleet.
I do dabble in quite a bit of other things. not extensively. Just sticking to Star Wars anyway. Like I used to be very, very heavy into the Funko Pops. I still I bought 2 today. The child, 2 different variants of the child popped up at Target this morning, so I grabbed those. Like I said, I used to have a massive, wall in my old office that had, 300 pops in it probably. I still have all of them. I just have them all in boxes now stored in my garage. As far as another line that I would consider, I do pick up the occasional Hot Toys figure every now and then, or sideshow piece. Again, I'm very picky and choosy. Obviously, they're expensive. I can't collect them all. The payment plans are nice to be able to spread out those payments. But
are you listening, Dorkside?
Excuse me?
Are you listening, Dorkside? We need payment plans for our
payment plans. Yeah. So yeah, like I've got, I'd probably have a half a dozen Hot Toys / sideshow things on pre-order payment plan right now. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
But then again, I bought the legendary scale Yoda like a year ago, still in the box in my garage. Like I don't even have it on display. It's like I said at the beginning. I'm kind of like borderline collector / hoarder. So,
by the way, when you were saying that my mom tells me that almost daily. Because she's a bit OCD, and she's like, "Man, you are a hoarder." Because I keep the box, I keep like the clamshell with the box.
Yep.
And sometimes not in the same spot, so I'll have clamshells everywhere and boxes everywhere else. I mean, it's getting bad, but there's definitely needs to be some type of compact box solution for collectors out there.
Right.
Somebody could make a fortune off of that.
How many sub focuses do you have, Yakface? Other potentially Yakface, and I think I've heard that Yoda is one of your focuses.
Yes, I've got a pretty decent size Yoda collection. I do collect prototype Boba Fett merchandise, whether official or fan made. There's just a lot of great stuff out there, especially fan made stuff. And I like that stuff almost even more than the official stuff because A, it's cheaper, B, it's smaller, and I like to support artists and makers that show their love of Star Wars through offering things up for other people to buy. So yeah, I've got a pretty large prototype Boba Fett collection. So
that prototype, you mean the white suit, not necessarily
yes,
prototype of
the white suit Boba Fett, whether it's McQuarrie concept or just the white version of the Boba Fett prototype armor that we all know. It's anything with Boba Fett in white essentially is fair game.
Okay, I have a question from Sith Strife again. I know we got a question from him before, but this is a good. What's the favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job? I mentioned this the other day on a couple of the different podcasts that I've been on. Toy hunting has always been fun. Like I've been doing it the past couple of days, just going around trying to find different things. Not even particularly just Star Wars. Like G.I. Joe's got stuff out now that I'm trying to find, and Transformers because I just got done watching that Netflix series, so I've been picking up some Transformer things that I like. I was holding off for some reason until I saw the show, but anyway, yeah, it's I don't know. I missed my point.
So, do you collect other things? What else is your main hobby aside from Star Wars?
Oh, I remember the toy hunting. As fun as that is, the hunting of the information has kind of superseded that for me. Like I like I get more of an adrenaline rush from finding some something that no one wants. Essentially, I reported, I think yesterday or today, I don't even, all my days blend together. I work at night often, and I don't know what day it is half the time. But like I reported that Black Series First Order Stormtrooper helmet. I got more negative comments about that than, I don't know, because it's First Order and it's sequel trilogy, and why didn't they make this 3 years ago, and just all this stuff. And it's fine, I get people don't like it and whatever, but as soon as I saw that, I'm just like, oh, that's it's not that it's awesome product wise, but I found something new. I get a big kick out of trying to finding new merchandise, because I search for new stuff multiple times a day, same places every day, and in hopes that someone updates some database or some shipping manifest somewhere gets posted, or I find a UPC and it triggers a result from someplace. And, it's just because all of those little pieces unlock other pieces. And that's what's it's become more of an investigation than collecting. And I find it very fun.
I feel like we need to put your skills to use on getting the Powerball number.
I'm as a profession, I'm a graphic designer. I've been doing it for 25 years or so, less frequently lately because of everything that's been going on in the world. But if I were to switch careers, it's like, how can I put these internet searching things to better use than, Star Wars toy? I mean, there are things that I could post that I haven't, and it's not just Star Wars related, things that go with Marvel or Transformers or G.I. Joe, or there's just, I could be reporting on so much more, but I'm narrowing my focus to Star Wars because that's my first real passion. And but could I put these powers, quote unquote, to different, more of a good use? I don't know.
The FBI would like to know your location.
Right. Doing background checks on people. I bet I could find some dirt if I really tried.
So, now on to the next question. I'll contact you after the AMA, by the way. I need to find some people. Suka, a quotation mark, hot toys, please, parentheses, asks. Yeah, ask him about that prototype Probot in Pod and Echo base pieces we never heard of. Did it go vaporware? I don't even know what he's asking. Maybe you do.
I do know. I don't own it. I can't remember the guy that does own it. For the 3 3/4-inch line, there was a probe droid that was to come out. I don't remember even what line it was from. It could have been Saga. I'd have to go back and look. But basically, the probe droid from The Empire Strikes Back came in a exploding, I don't know, shell, essentially, that like you saw blast, shoot out from the Star Destroyer at the beginning of Empire. And that was supposed to be a toy. And there's an actual physical prototype that exists, and I've seen pictures of it. You could probably find it through a Google search. I could.
Yeah, but you're a hacker, man. You have special powers.
But I don't think we'll ever get that. It was, I don't even remember what part of the line it was supposed to be. But yeah, that's all the more I really know about it is, yeah, that physical thing does exist in someone's collection somewhere as a prototype.
Now, was that kind of before your time of searching, or is that something you came upon and it never?
No, that was before my time as Yakface.com owner.
So I guess kind of building on from that, has there been a lot of stuff that you've uncovered that has just never materialized? I know specifically I'd be interested in any like the animated Clone Wars line that I know they were still working on development when the show got canceled. And so they kind of wound down that line at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Not that I recall or remember, or nothing that I personally know of, dealing with the Clone Wars. There's been a good dozen things or so over the years that have been, I think, going back to Solo. There were a couple basic figures that were supposed to come out. I don't even remember their code names at this point. I think one was supposed to. I think the figures ended up being packed in with that Target exclusive Trooper Builder pack for Solo. There was the
the TIE Fighter.
Scout Trooper looking guy. God, I can't remember what the name is. It looked
Stormtrooper Commander, right?
right, or there was the Scout. It was, I don't even remember what it was called. It basically looked like a biker scout, but it looked more like a stormtrooper.
Yeah, the patrol trooper.
Yeah. That was supposed to be an individually carded figure. And then there was another figure, I don't recall who it was supposed to be. Probably it was either going to be Dryden Voss or his goon as a basic carded figure. It was never really determined what the code name meant.
That hurts so much. Come on, bro.
Dryden Voss would have been a great one. What else? Stuff like there was supposed to be a series of 3-packs that came out, movie original trilogy 3-packs regarding the Galaxy of Adventures line before it changed to the 5-inch scale or whatever the hell it is now. There was supposed to be a set of those that were on Amazon, because I had placeholder links for the longest time with Amazon links and whatnot. Again, the ones that I guess hurt the most are that Jar Jar and the Crate Luke, because they've been hanging out in limbo for about 18 months, maybe 2 years. And they're still on Walmart's site right now. You could find direct links to them, using BrickSeek or whatever. Just using my direct links through my master list. They're still there. You can still access them. It's just that they're nothing right now.
We need a save Jar Jar hashtag.
No kidding.
Anything Jar Jar, I'm for it. Okay,
Yep.
so we're gonna wrap this up. I've got one more question from the community, and then I've got a couple I want to ask you, and then we will be done. Yes, hashtag save the Gungan. Yes. This question's inspired by Reese's Puff, and he says, "Ask anything about TVC, and it'll be happy." He meant to say, "Oh," but so I will formulate that question into, where do you see the TVC line going in the next year or two?
It's going to be a lot better than it has been in previous years. There's a lot of SKUs coming. I think I have on my master list, I'd have to double check, almost over 20, I think, of. And what I don't know is what, if any, are repacks or repaints. But I mean, it's still, that number of SKUs is pretty decent. We know that the next HasLab thing is a vintage collection item. There's another. There's going to be more playset and vehicle type things coming. Obviously, they're not going to have the 3 3/4 inch without having scaled accessories to go with it. So there's more stuff like that. I think the vintage collection looks better than it has before. I think I don't think there's anything to worry about. They're trying to cancel it, or they're just trying to push Black Series to the forefront and let TVC die. I don't really think that's their goal or end game, whatnot. So I don't think anyone has anything to worry about. I think people will be happy, depending on how hard they are to satisfy, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think some people just aren't happy no matter what happens,
Right.
and they just perennially complain on the internet because that's what brings them peace, and more power to them.
Right.
So moving into my questions now to finish this up.
Okay.
Do you like Shadows of the Empire, and why is Dash Rendar better than Han Solo?
I do like Dash Rendar, and I do like Han Solo. I do like Shadows of the Empire. That was the first, kind of the first expanded universe thing that really brought things back after such a long time. I mean, if you were alive back then, I'm not sure how many of the listeners or whatnot were around back then, but Shadows of the Empire will have a special place in collecting and my fandom, I guess. From the books, I had the hardcover novels, I had the books on tape, I had all the action figures and vehicles produced for the line. So yeah, it's great. As far as weighing Dash Rendar against Han, yeah, I'll call it even at this point.
Yeah, I know Dash is way better. I totally agree. Okay, next question.
Sure.
I heard on the Steel Wars podcast that you have kids. How
I
old?
do.
How old are they, and how many do you have?
I have 4 kids, 4 girls, 11, 10, and a set of twins that just turned 7 on the 31st of July.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah, they keep things busy. I'll say that. They're great, obviously. The 2 oldest ones are big into soccer. My 2 youngest ones are big into watching YouTube videos, which I have to monitor every now and then to make sure they don't go into some weird areas. But yeah, no, they're great. They tolerate my Star Wars obsession. Like they know, they tell their friends, my dad likes Star Wars and he's got a lot of stuff in his basement, in his room. And they don't really even know how much stuff I have. But no, yeah, they're great.
So that was kind of the question I was gonna lead into.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? Did you nudge your kids into Star Wars, or are you trying to nudge your kids into Star Wars? Or are you just letting them kind of do their own thing, and if they find it on their own, fine.
I'm not really pushing them too heavy. I know people do that, and that's fine. I mean, it's because they want to have a shared experience with their kids. I get that. I'd rather have them figure out their hobbies on their own, to be honest. Like, my kids know who R2D2 is, and they know who Darth Vader is. And my oldest daughter, she was wearing a Empire Strikes Back t-shirt today. And it was like a woman's shirt that I bought that I bought my wife several years ago, knowing that she wouldn't wear it, but I just wanted to buy it anyway because it was a cool shirt, and now my daughter wears it.
It's leaking in by osmosis,
right? So yeah. Like I said, they tolerate. They know Dad likes it and loves it and is obsessed with it, and takes up way more time than it probably should. But yeah, it's been great. I mean, like with everything that's been going on as far as the whole, having to stay home or work from home or school from home, I've been the one that's been able to do that with them, and that's been great. So I don't have any complaints, obviously. So yeah, 4 kids, 4 girls. I'll have some sleepless nights coming up for sure as they get a little older, but it's all right.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So speaking of children, too much Baby Yoda right now, or do you like the Baby Yoda? Do you think it's oversaturated?
I'm feeling it starting to get there. When I see pictures, just bins of the Mattel Baby Yoda at Walmart, you just see it becoming something that's going to get stale. And
And they print it on everything, just
I
hand
know,
sanitizer, napkins.
and you knew it was coming to, and Disney, Lucasfilm, whoever you want to attribute / blame for it, they have that avenue is open for anything they produce to overproduce or overmarket it. And I grant that the child is super popular, but they're definitely exploiting it for all it's worth. And
Hey,
just
if they can exploit it into a bounty collection wave 2, I will keep buying child products because those bounty collections are cuter than anything else.
that's kind of always been Star Wars thing too.
You're in luck then, because there are more bounty ones coming. Breaking news here on AMA.
Nice.
I hope there's season 2.
We got a scoop.
I've been sitting on those for a bit.
Very nice.
I pulled it out of him.
We always appreciate it.
That we want to follow up because we want to make sure everybody didn't get missed.
Okay.
The upcoming Clone Lieutenant. Have you heard any possibility if this is a named clone, possibly Jesse, or is this our long lost blue striped Clone Lieutenant to complete the set of 4 from the Attack of the Clones Clone Troopers in Black Series?
I haven't heard definitively either way, or even hinted at what source material it's from. But if you look at the wave and you notice what movies aren't represented, like there's no Attack of the Clones figures in there as far as for that wave that he's in. But there's already a Clone Wars line established. I would weigh it personally. Like I said, I don't know either way. I would personally think it's more from the Clone Wars than it is from Attack of the Clones. That's just my thought.
They gotta start at Attack of the Clones mural sometime.
Right. I mean, and they just
came...
they just had a wave in the old packaging of Attack of the Clones. I don't think they're going back to Attack of the Clones so soon. So,
Alex, that question was for you. I'm not going to say all the numbers behind your screen name. And then Kessel Customs wanted to know if you've heard any rumblings about a possible next Force Friday, Fan First Friday on Hasbro Pulse for the Star Wars brand team. Uh-oh, did I go dead? Sorry, guys, did I go dead?
No, you're fine. I think Jason went dead.
The Hasbro snipers finally got him. Thank you, Kessel, for asking.
R.I.P. Yakface. Hang on, guys. We're having some technical difficulties.
Am I back?
You are back, sir.
Okay. I figured out how to do that.
We were sweating.
Okay.
We thought the Hasbro snipers got you.
Nope. I'm in my bunker. No one could get me here. What were we talking about?
So the Fan First Fridays that Hasbro
He's in a bunker. No,
I'm in a bunker.
I'm sorry. I was just talking to somebody else. Sorry.
Fan First Friday. I don't know of an official Fan First Friday this week, but I would way or bet heavily within the next week to 10 days that pre-orders for new things are coming. And when I say new, technically new for Hasbro. Maybe not new to us who follow rumors or leaks. So we might get 5s coming up here soon. The TVC figure and Hondo finally, who've been just hanging out in limbo here for, again, like 6 months, if not longer. There's some other stuff there's the Darth Sidious Force Effects Elite lightsaber that's supposed to go up for pre-order soon. What else is there?
Like some tantalizing stuff that might be going up.
Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. There's a good portion of stuff yet to come. There's a whole nother Black Series wave in the new packaging wave. I guess you'd call it wave 27. There might be another wave before the end of the year for that. So there's still a lot of product to come. It's that busy time of what was supposed to be San Diego Comic-Con when all those pre-orders go up. We only really got those 4 pre-orders for the Walmart exclusive wave of Black Series. We still have the official San Diego Comic-Con exclusives that were supposed to go up coming in September. There's some convention exclusive, like the Cad Bane, that was supposed to be a Celebration exclusive. So that will be going up relatively soonish.
That's in the style of Thrawn, right? Where it's going to be a mainline figure, but the exclusive just has some extra stuff. That
is my understanding, yeah. I don't think it might not be presented like in a package. I mean, the Thrawn one was pretty substantial as far as all of the accessories it came with. I don't think the Cad Bane will be quite that extensive as far as extras, but just considering how many come to a case, that's my only basis on that information, because it does kind of make a difference. If depending on how case packs are, how big the item is going to be. So
I'm sorry, keep going.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, when you miss a figure and it gets revealed without you leaking it, are you happy that you get to be surprised, or do you think like, oh man, I should have had that, I missed that, oh man, I could have easily looked that one up or something like that?
Right. I'm trying to think when that happened last.
Did you know about Leia Bespin?
Bespin. No, the Vintage Collection figure, I did not know about that one. So that one was a genuine surprise. And because of how Lucasfilm, Hasbro, Disney, whoever's in charge of these code names now, they've decided to change things up on us, or me, or however you want to look at it. They're not cross-referenced with other things that they've done before. Like if there's a Kylo Ren, let's say in the Black Series, his code name was Oslo for The Rise of Skywalker. It would have been the same thing for his 3 3/4 inch figure, the code name. They're not doing that anymore, where the same character has the same code name regardless of scale. So now we're doing these themed waves of, we've got oceans and continents or countries and gems and all these different things. They're kind of doing the Marvel aspect, which, if you're behind the scenes looking at some of this stuff, you'll know, like they're named after, Saved by the Bell characters, or pizza or cheese, or just some weird, and I do find it hilarious, and I do kind of commend them. But if I was in charge of it, I would be using way more esoteric references. I don't know. I'd choose like the Breakfast Club, or I don't know, something way off the wall for their code names.
That's what they're going to do on the next wave.
Right,
you're going to get that just as now. It's going to be Bender and
Claire, and
yeah.
I do start to wonder, like, who's coming up with these code names.
I know.
Like, what were they thinking at the moment? Like, did they just have
Right.
a magazine open that had those words in it, or like what's going on there?
And that's kind of the deal. If I were to go to one of these conventions where Hasbro is present and I sat down and talk with them, or if they asked me something, I would fully show them how I find this information. I have no problem doing it because they probably can't alter too much on how they do this in order to get things shipped over here. But it'd be interesting to talk with them and see, how do you guys come up with these names, because I do find it entertaining in trying to decipher where these, or who these characters are, or who's who and what's what, and why did you choose Huckleberry Finn for this, for the Mandalorian, or cities for the Rise of Skywalker. It's kind of fascinating as to their decision making. So yeah, it'd be an interesting conversation to see how that all comes into play and how they figure that out.
If you were made boss of the Star Wars department of Hasbro today, would you keep things the same, or what would your first order of business be as the head of that department?
I'd put out more vintage collection vehicles.
Right on.
On clearance or full price?
Full price. Yeah, it's long gone are the days where we got a dozen vehicles for a particular line look. Like every packaging switchover, you might have some repacks in there for vehicles. You'd get your X-Wing or your TIE Fighter or whatnot, but you'd still have a solid lineup of a good 10 to 12 vehicles in different scales. The $20 price point, 40, or sad that they're a $40 vehicle is now 100. But that would be kind of my wish or goal if I was to step back, if I was to step into those shoes and say, we need to have more vehicles to support the action figure line, because that was half the reason why it was developed in the first place. Going back to the original 70s line, you'd have action figures and vehicles to accompany them. So I'd ramp up the vintage collection vehicle production.
All right. Well, okay, wait. Okay, I got one more. If you had to pick one creature from Star Wars to defend you against a zombie army, what creature would it be?
One creature to defend me. I'd pick Yoda. He's a creature.
That's fair. That's a smart answer. Yeah. I was thinking more along the lines of like a do-bag, or like the thing that they fight in the Coliseum, whatever that.
The Acklay, or the
But that's the smart answer.
Oh man, I'm surprised. I think the Blurg is ready for its
the Blurg. Yeah.
After the Mandalorian and all the love it got in those Ewoks.
You could make like a Blurg chariot and have it like run over people.
See.
Yep.
Like
so I have a final question, and I know that this has been addressed, and I just kind of want to ask it for myself. But with the new clones that got announced for the San Diego exclusive, they look amazing, and you can tell they've got this animated, inspired paint on their head sculpts. Do you want to see a continuation if Bad Batch makes some 3 3/4 figures of the animated style, or do you want to see this hybrid? Because I mean, they're definitely not fully realistic. I'm not looking at Tamura Morrison's face when I'm seeing these clones. I'm definitely seeing the animated influence. Do you want to see this kind of hybrid line go forward, or do you want to see a return to fully animated inspired?
I think he's fed up with your question.
Yeah, I know. It was the hardest hitting one. Why we don't have Clone Wars animated figures anymore. Well, thank you everybody for coming.
Straight.
Am I back?
Yes,
You're
are back.
Okay.
You're back, sir.
I know why it's doing it now, and I could prevent it. So for these last couple minutes, it won't happen again.
You have an image as a hacker, man. You have to keep that up, okay?
Okay. So I fixed it. No, I totally want continuation of the animated line to finish out the series. I want all of the Mandalorians. I want Ahsoka. I want everybody in the animated form for the last season. I want Bad Batch in animated.
So with your expertise, how happy do you see yourself being in the next year to 2 years?
Sadly, I do not know.
I think it's me. It's all my questions.
Yeah, it is you. Did I go out again?
You did, yeah.
Oh.
But you're back. So,
Okay.
how happy with you wanting to see animated figures continue? How happy do you see yourself being in the next year to 2 years?
Not at all.
Oh,
I think that ship has sailed.
that's unfortunate.
Yep.
Well, I would like that to be the second thing you do when you take over after ships.
Okay. I would do that. I would do that because the Clone Wars line was one of my top favorite things that Hasbro's ever done because of the variety and the depth and, again, the amount of vehicles that they had for that line. And it was a line into and of itself, the Clone Wars line. You could have a whole collection based around the Clone Wars from Hasbro and have a very substantial collection from everything they produced. So I'd return to that.
My oldest daughter is the same age as your youngest daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And I shared this with you a couple days ago.
Right.
But my daughters were playing with each other, and my oldest daughter turned to my youngest daughter and she said, "Stop being such a snips." And my mouth dropped open because I knew why she was saying that. She was saying that as an Anakin talking to Ahsoka. And it's amazing to see the next generation of Star Wars fans with now, I mean, snips is an insult for young daughters, 7 and 4. And going forward, that, I mean, I don't know how much that'll be a memory for them growing up. But,
right.
But
I don't know what I would do if I heard that. I mean, I'd be like, I don't know. That would blow me away if I heard that, because that's a very specific reference that only a very limited amount of people would get if they heard it firsthand. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
We've got one last question here, so let's go ahead and ask it. Might as well before we wrap it up. Jason, have you heard anything about a possible 4-pack for the clones in the Black Series, or did people just confuse that with the 3-pack?
People confused that with the 3-pack.
Well, that was an easy one.
Yep. I think it all kind of stemmed from my original report where I said when I reported, I don't know if it's Black Series or Vintage Collection, but I suspected it was a Black Series. Again, I didn't know. I was pretty forthright about not knowing what the source was or the number of figures in it. But kind of as I researched it further and as more things became known, like case pack and price and whatnot, I was pretty confident in responding to people on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and people were making assertions that it was a 4-pack of clones, and I said I never said it was a 4-pack of clones, and I may have contributed to the confusion. I'll own up to that, but yeah, there is not a Clone Wars 4-pack.
Do you feel you have a responsibility to the collecting community to get this information out to them?
Do I think it's a responsibility?
Do you?
No.
Yeah. Do you? Or okay.
I mean, I could stop doing it tomorrow. It would be really weird, and it would be interesting to see the repercussions of not doing it, because there's a lot of, and I really enjoy all of the people out there that have YouTube content and Instagram content.
I know Hasbro Pulse would stop sweating. I know that.
a lot of content out there that I do see is based off of things that I do report, and that's great. I mean, it's cool that they, they credit the site, and they use me as a source as their news, and I find that cool. There's a time in the past where that didn't always happen, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what would happen to content providers out there that kind of rely on rumors and leaks. I mean,
Please never leave us.
I mean, I don't know what would happen with my site if I would stop doing it. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, never leave us.
Since I don't take pictures all that much anymore.
If you leave, we'll have to come kidnap you and force you at a computer to look these things up.
Right.
Well, I just want to tell everybody thank you for the great questions tonight, Jason.
Yeah, they were good.
We really appreciate you just kind of peeling back the curtain for us.
Sure.
And yeah, I'll let Handsome wrap it up.
Yeah, just thank you so much for doing this and for all your support for the Discord server. You've been great to all of us, and yeah, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everybody coming out, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it again. It was fun. Hopefully I can divulge some more stuff, and
By the way, your Gonk Droid is in the mail, so
awesome. Thank you.
just don't worry about that. By
not-
the way, that's not a payoff.
Yeah.
That was done separately.
Paid to do this.
You got paid in Gonk Droids.
Sweet. Got paid in Gonk Droids.
Yeah, I was too cheap. I could only afford the one.
Well, have a great night, everybody. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks everyone for
Thanks.
the questions and listening in.
All righty. I love you. Goodbye. That's
that it?
it. That's it. We're all done. See you guys next time.
Sure. Yeah, like I said, anytime you want to do it, I will be available. I will try to make myself available anyway.
We don't have any kind of outro music to play, so just pretend there's outro music right now.
I like the song.